dozen, it seems like, receivers. But they're all kind of clicking. Offensively, we got on a roll tonight, and we were able to run the football, which makes you dangerous because if they have to load the box to try to stop the run, then it gives you opportunities in the passing game and stuff. So I thought that James, every game that he has played, he has gotten better. The familiarity with the offense and the understanding of the scheme and how to get in and out of plays, how to change the protections, how to audible and try to get us out of bad plays. And and I thought that without looking at the film and stuff, it seemed like that we were better at that tonight than we were in the previous two football games. I was disappointed defensively in some of the things. I thought that whether it's young kids playing. And you think that, okay, the score indicates that they're going to throw the ball all the time and guys are trying to rush and sack the quarterback and they're handing the ball off. And right before the half, they had a couple of drives where they ran the ball and had a lot of success, and I don't like that. It's something that we've got to do a better job of from that standpoint. I've talked about this also, that one of the areas, and I really felt this way, I felt like when Maurice Alexander came to us and said, I'd like to move positions and go to wide receiver, that he potentially had the athletic skills ability to be a dynamic kid, whether it's as a receiver, whether it's as a returner. And for the first time tonight, you got a little bit of a glimpse of his ability to help change field position just because of his ability on punt returns. That even prior to the one that went the length of the field for the touchdown stuff, I think he had three that were, 15, 18 yards each one of them. I don't know specifically what it was, but he was doing a really good job. And I thought that the guys that were on the punt return team with him did a much better job of making sure that he at least got an opportunity to kind of get started on the return. It was a good win, and I think our kids, they worked hard to try to earn that, and happy for them.
Which was I say about Maurice's maturity as a young man? Handle what he's gone through.
Yeah.
Out there in the field and did what he did tonight.
I think obviously he's a great kid, but I think he is what you would love for your entire locker room to be, is put the team first over your own potential ego or selfishness. And I got to be honest, there's a lot of places with as many guys. We were rotating 4 running backs, 6 or 7 wide receivers, and we don't have anybody that's complaining, oh, Coach, I want more catches, I want more playing time. They're just happy to be playing, happy to make contributions. It speaks volumes about him. You knew even last year, even though he was a backup quarterback on the team, you could tell that the respect that he had by the players on the team. They'd played high school football against him, and they knew what kind of kid he was. And I think they were happy for him when he did flip positions. I think they recognized that getting him on the field would be an asset for our offense.
Talk a little bit about the leadership of your team. You said that a lot of new faces.
Yeah.
Kind of talk about how they've moved along kind of everyone.
Yeah, it's a good question because, we really, truly, this program lost maybe kind of the face of this program for the previous 3 or 4 years. You lose Anthony Went and Trayvon Williams, those 2 kids had thousands of tackles. They were kind of the heart of the defense for their entire career. Alex Magoo as the quarterback obviously was a starter for 4 years. And so when you lose those guys, and this is true about every team, I don't care whether it's the Super Bowl teams in Dallas or any of the other really good teams that I've been fortunate to be with, every team has a different personality. They really do, because there's graduations, there's guys in the NFL that retire, and it takes a little while for leaders to start stepping forward. You see some of that with Sage Lewis. He made a position switch. He went from will linebacker to take Anthony's place at the middle linebacker. Anthony Johnson kind of stepping up defensively. Ike Brown, Olin Cushing on defense. Some of the older guys starting to understand that they kind of set the expectations for practice and the way that the team plays on Saturday. On the offensive side of the ball, obviously we've got some guys like Jordan Budwig that I laugh at him. He's been here, I think, since this building was built. This is year number 6 for him. But those kind of guys, he's gone through some devastating injuries with his knees and stuff to get that 6th year, and so their leadership really helps, and you need it.
You talked about leadership, Butch. What's it say about the maturity across the board that your kids took care of tonight and didn't look ahead to the next Saturday?
Yeah, I got to be honest. I mean, that is one of the cultural things that we talked about a year ago. Is that literally? I mean, and I think we learned a big lesson when we became bowl eligible last year with win number 6. I don't know if the program was ready to start patting yourself on the back, and we went out and lost a game to ODU that only had 3 wins. And I think what we've tried to convince these players is that whoever we're playing, it doesn't make any difference. Just focus on this week. Next week's going to show up, and whoever it is, then we'll focus on that team. And if you could ever get your football program, and I've been places where we have, that there are black helmets, black jerseys, black pants, black face masks, and they got no numbers. They're just the next team up. And you know, this week, that's where your leaders kind of step forward during the course of the week. It's like, hey, guys, it don't matter who's coming down the pipe. This week. We got to win this game.
First time in 11 years, Butch. Next week, can you just speak?
Say it again.
First time in 11 years with the Canes. Can you just speak to the opportunity for the program?
It's actually not. I played them 4 times at North Carolina.
No, I meant just for this program, FIU.
Oh, that's the first time in 11 years. Yeah, I mean, I think the last time they played was embarrassing probably for both programs, and I didn't see it. I heard about it, and I don't even know where I was at that time. But obviously, these kids, they're going to have played against each other. Some were on the same teams in high school together. They've competed against each other, so I'm sure it'll have a lot of competition. It's not too different than being at Miami and playing Florida State or playing Florida. Anytime you play people in your own backyard, there's a little bit of extra, excitement about it. But a great game.
Will he be getting more carries in the future?
I mean, we're trying, obviously with Anthony out, he got a big plateful last week and this week, and tonight I think was his career high. I think he had over 120-something yards, and we had 2 backs. Napoleon had over 100 yards as well. We just try to keep fresh guys in the game. I mean, those of you remember the days when it was Clinton Portis and Najee Davenport and James Jackson and a litany of other guys, Willis McGay, all those guys. You just keep rolling them in, try to keep fresh running backs in the game, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Obviously the win is the thing.
Sure.
But is thing 1A the fact that you got a lot of game film on a lot of guys tonight? I'm sure you're still evaluating.
Absolutely. Oh, no, and there was one time I think we had 9 freshmen and 7 of them were walk-ons on kickoff cover. I mean, it's experimentation. I mean, we've told them if you get opportunities, it's a little bit of an audition. We want you to go out and show us what you can do for a lot of the young kids. And this is a young football team. I mean, it really, truly is. I mean, when you look at the actual number of seniors that are starting and are the major contributors, I mean, you're talking less than a handful, 6, 7, or 8. And 90% of this team is freshmen, sophomores, redshirt sophomores, and it's baptism under fire. And I'm sure that some of the things that went wrong in some of those drives, it's going to be easily to say, well, it's the first time he's ever seen it, first time. But you got to learn from it, and you can't make those same mistakes the next time.
Coach, a guy that you raved about a lot, Stanley Thomas-Oliver, did you talk about him tonight?
Yeah. He's the flip side of the unselfishness like Maurice Alexander, that we ask him, and I'm disappointed in myself. I thought about doing it midway through the season because he had kind of demoted down, and Bryce Singleton and Shamir Thornton and some of those guys, Tony Gator, they were playing pretty good at the receiver position, and he wasn't playing very much. And you could see he was fast. I mean, he's got speed, he's got long arms, and I kept saying, we ought to take a look at him at corner. And we debated back and forth because you weren't sure, Thomas Owens was hurt, and you thought, oh, we're going to run out of receivers before the season's over with. But then finally 2 weeks before the season's over, we put him on the scout team, and within 2 practices I said, he's going to be okay. And he really had a great spring, and he's been unselfish about it, and, that's going to be a great career move for him. Sure. Yeah, he got a little bit of an ankle sprain last week, and there was no reason to risk putting him out there tonight. Like I said, we've been playing 10, 11, 12 defensive linemen and stuff, and it was like, well, we felt like that we could make sure he's 100% for next week.
Coach, this is the second time, coincidentally against UMass, that you guys have matched the record or set the record again for the highest number of points.
Yeah.
Cardinals staying with 63. Just talk about what it means for you to kind of see these young kids kind of set the standard and set the history making here at FIU.
Yeah, well, I like the way in which those points occurred. I mean, because we controlled the line of scrimmage, we were able to run the ball, we got some explosive plays. Protection was a little shaky at times, but you know, I thought that James did a good job of making sure he tried to get rid of the ball and not take any negative plays. And you know, so we were, you know, it was just a good performance. You know, and I think, you know, we were able to, the tempo of it, to kind of expose their lack of depth. Their defense tonight reminded me an awful lot of our defense last year. I mean, we had about 14 kids that had to play 80 plays every game, and if it got out of hand like that, we were sucking gas at the end of the game. And you know, we saw a little bit of that against Boston College, that they were struggling in the end of the third and the fourth quarter. You could tell that they didn't have as much depth in the defensive line, and if we could get ahead and get a lead and really push the tempo, it would help us, and it did tonight. Yeah.
So take us a little bit about the freshman tight ends.
Yeah, well, we got 3 of them, and you want to talk about baptism under fire? I mean, those kids. I mean, they're going out there playing in college football games, and 5 months ago they were at the prom. You know, so I mean, they got huge upside. I mean, they're good, talented kids, and they're smart, and they're learning, and obviously, you know, he's got a really, really bright future. He's got great hands. He runs. He's got speed. He can get in and out of breaks, and you know, you like seeing him getting better and better and better every single game.
Coach, Dorian Hall earned his first start tonight. How do you feel that he performed?
Yeah, no, I'm happy with Dorian. You know, when I went to see Dorian during recruiting, I'd never seen him play football in person. And I went to a basketball game, and I was unbelievably impressed. I mean, his poise on the field, on a basketball court, his ability to just play above the rim. You just said, you know what, this is the kind of kid that's got a really bright future as a safety, because he's got a lot of range. He's smart. He's instinctive. And again, you know, it's his first time he's ever played, but every game he's got a little bit better, a little bit better.
Anything else?
All right, guys. Thank you all very much.